In week 3, we're learning testing today. In the past, because we normally go very fast, we actually work on a new project and write a lot of tests. I think I'm going to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to write tests for our assignment 2. And in the process, help you understand how the code is written for assignment 2. Because there are a lot of useful concepts in assignment 2 that we will revisit. Okay. First, let's just have a little quick recap on assignment 2. What did we learn? Anything interesting? Anything crazy? Obviously, we learned the hash secure password. Do you guys have a better idea of what this guy does? What attributes does this add to your model? Yeah, things like that, right? And when unsure, just go to api.ruby-on-rails and type hash secure password. Usually it gives you enough to read. As simple as that. It's weird, huh? This is old. In your Rails 5 app, it's this application record, which inherits from active record base. So know what it does. Know that you don't have to worry about encryption, as encrypting your password. It supports these two virtual, fake attributes. Okay, and you never set password digest yourself. Let Rails do that. Okay, and you have this authenticate method. Actually, it either returns false or it returns a user. When it returns the user, it just also means it returns true, right? In Ruby, note that instead of true-false, we have something called truthy and then falsy. Anything that is either nil or false, that's false when you have a question mark method or a Boolean value. It's like falsy value. And truthy is either true or any object value. So this is Boolean in Ruby. It's a little confusing. Does that make sense? Okay. Sometimes you like to put question marks, sometimes you don't. That's okay. Anything else that we learn in homework 2? There's one that's really confusing to most people. Is when you do multiple, it's when you're referring to yourself, right? It's like a user has many friends, but a friend is a user. So we will, when we write tests, we will revisit it. But right now, do you remember what we have here? Belongs to what? And then what? Belongs to friend. Who here did this method? Raise your hand. Did anyone do it differently? Who here uses Twitter? Raise your hand. Twitter. Tweet. Now, some people comment, okay, give me the column I have in this table. User ID is an integer. And friend ID, integer. It's a little weird, right? Like, oh, what's the user? But this is our convention. It's almost like this guy is the person who creates the friend request, and this guy is the person who is friended. And some people say, oh, it's like adding a contact to your phone, right? Adding your own contact. And when someone adds you back, that person is this person, and you are this. So the interesting thing is when you do class user, right? Because you have this user thing, so you can have has many friendship. That one is easy, right? But this friend, then you have many what? You also has many friendship, but this is we are not inversing this. This line we convert this line from this line. It's the other direction, right? If you are a user is a friend, do you know what it leads to? Has many what? This one, who can answer? If you watch the screencast, they say inverse friendship, right? Or you can, maybe I can call it has many following. It's like if you add me, I think you're following me. Does that make sense? So I call this many. So this one, this is the inverse. Inverse is the opposite, right? This is the inverse of what is the line or belongs to friend. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you guys? This is the inverse of belongs to user, right? What's really cool here is that this gives you, let's say, if you have a user.find, params ID, or user is current user, let's say anything, user.first, user.last. From here, you have user.friendship, right? How do you get the list of friends? You have user.friends, right? But if we don't have this method, can you define this method? Define friends. Who can define this method for me? Friendships, and then? Here's the most stupid way. If you learn Java, C, so I have something like result or my friends, and this is first nothing, and then is, of course, maybe you can even do for friendship in friendships, and in here results you add friend this one to it, right? You see that? Yeah. And then I return results. Okay? Yeah. But we're writing in Ruby, so we can make it a little bit better. So you don't need the second variable. You can just say friendships dot map, right? Let's say here is a friendship. Who can write this line for me? And then in here you say friend. Does this line make sense? This returns in this block, this return a friend. So when you take all the friendship, each friendship gives me one friend, then I get the list of friends. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So who can make this line shorter?
So when map returns an array.
Yeah, so when you have one unmapped, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, if you do map, if you do this is x, and then you say x times x, what do you get? 1, 4, 6, 16. Right? But because it's only one line, and normally because you care about the return result, sometimes it's cleaner to use a block. So that's a shorter version. Yeah? Alright, so now raise your hand if you know how to, do this if you know how to make it shorter, and do this if you don't, and do this if you're not sure. Can we all give me a show of hands? Right, do this if you're not sure, do this if you know how to make it shorter. Alright, so most of us know how to make it shorter. Maybe I change it to a block and then I say dot friend. Shorter, right? Who can make it even shorter? That looks fine, right? It looks easy to understand. It's really cool. Because then now maybe I can get the list of my friend's name. Now I have a friend. So I can even map, let's say, friend. Maybe just, they're all user anyway, so let's say dot name. And then now I get the list of my friends' names. So you see, normally this in C, in Pascal, in other languages, when we learn, it's a lot longer to write, right? Okay, how can we make this even shorter? You calling this method on an element here. So Ruby allows you to map it into this. It's a proc, and then you just adding this name. This happens a lot. So that's cool, right? for example, now if you need to get the list of email of friends, just do that. Give me the list of emails of all my friends. Does that make sense? Come on, give me some feedback. Yes or no? Does this one make sense?
Yes.
So what does it return? A list of users? Right. A list of friends, but they are all user type. Right? So this is cool. Now, what is the difference between a regular method and a has many? You know, I can define friendships like this. If I have to define it myself, how would you define friendships? That's quite easy, right? Friendship dot where user is myself, right? Or you can say dot ID, right? Or you can get rid of the self. It's the same. So that's how you define this method. This method is only one method. When you do has many, it has a lot more methods. For example, because you do has many, then here you can do dot build. You will see that here and there. This is the same as calling friendship, creating a new friendship with user ID is this user. These two lines are the same. You see? Because you do has many, it creates a lot of methods you can use. .build, .create. Okay? The only difference is it's not called .new, it's called .build. Now go back to this. What if I want the same benefits? Then here, I don't need this. I can just say has many friends. Cool, but how does it know? Through friendship, and this is the most important concept in the homework, right? How does it know? I have many friendships, so I have many friends. So I need a link between a friendship and friends, so it look into this guy. So this guy is in the middle. You have a friendship thing in the middle. And then you have a user on the one hand, and then the user on the other hand. Connect through friendship in the middle. A user can have many friends. A friend can also have many users. But in this case, it's weird. You don't say a friend has many users, right? This is like a friend can have many people who friend me. But in this case, it's not obvious. So we will use that example later. So because of that, we can get rid of all this code. So does this line make more sense now? Now this is really cool because I showed you guys that because you do has many, you can actually have things like this. When you do user.friend has many friendship, you can actually call friendship IDs. What is it? It actually call user.friendships.map ID. What's that? Cool, right? Actually, it's similar. It's not exactly the same thing, but you don't have to worry. It gives you the exact result. Different performance, but don't worry about it. So it means I can now do user.friendIDs because I have this line. And this is very powerful because I get, give me the ID of all users who are my friend. It gives you the ability to create something that normally is so hard to write, non-friends. And right? Who can write this line? User.where? Right. So you can do this in SQL. ID not in question mark, pass in the list of ID 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, it's just my friend IDs. Does that make sense? That's cool. Of course, if you want to use the newer way, you can say .id friend IDs. That is exactly the same. So Rails is smart enough. If you only have one number, then this is quite cool. It will just compare. This one, it always converts this to an array. So either way, you can use. Okay, so you can pass in friend IDs as one number or many numbers. Okay? So that's how you get non-friends. You don't even have to worry about friendship. There's very little logic here. So
one question.
yeah.
Does it work for the add friends? So when you log, let's say that user ID number 1, user ID number 2. When you log in with user ID number 2, you will see the friendship.
When you log into user number 2, and then you call friendship, it only return user number 2's friendships. You say current user, right? Dot friendships. And when you do this in the Rails console, it actually does select star from friendships where friendships.id, no, user ID is whoever this current ID is. So maybe current ID.
No, in this case, so there's a user ID and friend ID, right? The friend ID is 2, the user ID is 1. Now we log in, the current user is 2. We will see the results here.
No.
No, right?
No. You can use this following. Only one-way friendship.
Yeah.
So it's in the Rails cast, you see it called inverse friendship. I call it following. It's like you're my follower, right? If you friend me, you follow me.
Yeah, but it's using this way, how can we do it from the other way?
So do you want friendship to be two direction?
It should be two way. You add me
it's up to you. Okay, if you want to do that, then you need something that is different.
Not this one.
Yeah, you have to design it differently. And of course, you can say friend. In this case, if you do define friends here, you just define it yourself. Friendship. How do you do that? In this case, we want two-way, right? Two-way friendship. In real life, if I think you are my friend, I don't think it's guaranteed you think I'm your friend. So, yeah, so similar to Facebook now, right? So this is actually good. However, if you think that, it should be two-way, if I like you, you must like me, then we do this. Friendship dot where, you get all the friendship, where what? Either user ID is my ID, or friend ID is my ID. And then you can pass in ID. Okay? So, lose friends, like, right? Lose friends. In a way that, fake friends or like easy friends. Okay? So let's say you can define that. Just understand that has many just gives you some extra stuff. You don't need it if you don't have to. Up to you. Any question about user and friendship? If I'm going to show you one more thing about this is I'll show you message. It's very similar. So let's say here that's why it's called user and self-referential. Referring to itself, referential relationship. Okay. So under message is what's cool here. So let's say if I have class user. Remember we have class message belongs to what? Sender belongs to recipient. And of course you cannot just write that. It doesn't know what class name. So you say class name is user. Class name is user. Okay? Now it knows the foreign key ID because it's sender underscore ID, recipient underscore ID. It gives you class user here, but it's a bit tricky. You're like, what is the opposite? What's the inverse relationship of this guy? Who knows how to do it? Has many? Alright, so let's say send messages. So see, you can define this method yourself, but that's easy already, right? We all know how to do send messages, right? This just means where sender is myself. That's already easy. Let's do the hard way. Send messages. What else? Does it know, like maybe I can say class name because this guy send messages, so it's like that? Yeah? Uh-oh. Does it know what foreign key? What? Does that make sense? Now you can do the same thing for has many received messages. Same idea, right? recipient ID. Okay? Does that make sense? Now Rails really powerful because if you have in here, if you have a column called red, right? Red at. So let's say if you have a column called, read at, right? Is red at date time. Then you can, of course, just say if this message is if message.read at, but sometimes it's easier to just do this. And then you say read at. That's it. It's just the same thing, but remember this is truthy. If it's nil, then it's false. If it's the time value, then it's true. Who knows how to convert it to true and false? So you can say equals to nil. Yeah? Right? So some of you say dot nil. Is that right? Dot nil means it's not red. So you need something in the front. Right? Is that right? But then why do you have condition here and then condition here? That's just stupid. Why do we do it both ways? It's very hard to read. But then the meaning is different. This return true or false, right? Who knows how to make it shorter? You, instead of this nil here, bring it to the front. One more. So this becomes true or false. It's the same thing, it just converted to true or false. Remember in your controller, application controller, and remember the current user method. If you like to, okay, some people don't like this method, but then you can say user sign in. Of course, you can just write current user, right? But some people just do that, and that's, if you read it, you'll see that, just give me true or false. So you return the user, okay? Just return the, session ID. Okay? So if I have this as, that's, okay, I have this red at, okay? So if you have a message, you can check whether it's read or not. How do I get the list of messages that have not been read? Yeah, so you can create a class method called unread. Who knows how to define this method? You can call message.where because we are in the class method. So I get rid of this guy. I just say where, and then what? Read at is nil. By now, you should probably know it's the same thing as read at is not null. Rails is smart enough to convert into this. Okay? Oh, is nil, right? Like that. Okay? It's actually in SQL, it's different. You cannot do this, okay? So when it's null, you actually use the is condition. However, we use this method. It's easy to read, and it works across databases, so that's nice. Good, right? So you can do message.unread.count to give you the list of messages that you haven't read. How do I get the list of messages, unread messages that I have received? Who knows how to do this? Guys, come on. User, current user, dot received messages, dot unread. Okay? So this is an array, but it also powerful enough. It's an array of message. But then it also has more methods, including the class method here. Okay? And of course, you can even do .count, right? You can do .where. Okay? So we just learned a little bit more on defining more custom relationship here. Yeah? Anything else about the homework? That's pretty much it. If you know how to build this, then the homework is easy. But sorry, you have to learn it the hard way. Okay? Anything else to share about homework? 2? 1. Yes?
About the users and friends. When I add a friend and already a friend, when I add him again, he became a new friend.
Yes, good point. So now 1, in the view you should not display the add button, right?
Yeah.
But then, of course, we should not rely on that because someone can send a request to the server, right? So how do we do that?
Validation.
Add validation. So who know how to do this validation? Class friendship. When you do belongs to, I think I told you guys, there's already a validation on the presence of these two columns, right? So if you create a friendship without user or friend, it will crash. That is Rails 5. Now, you want to validate user ID, right? Uniqueness, right? Right, so what you want is something like this, right? Friend ID, and then you say uniqueness is true, right? Someone try this? If you try it, you know it won't work. Rails doesn't understand this, all right? Rails takes uniqueness, and then here you say scope, and now you can pass in what? A list of other values. So here you just say friend ID. When you do this, every time it will check this pair, it has to be unique. Okay? So definitely do this so that you don't add the wrong friend. Now, I mean, if you add the friend again, so when you destroy, they're still friends because you already added them 3 times, right? And then you have to destroy their friendship 3 times. There's only one friendship. So this validation is very useful. Right? Okay. So here is, within scope. So, okay. Anything else? Yes.
Sender. One message belongs to one sender.
Okay.
If you send a message to one.
Excellent. Great question. So this is an optional one, though, right? Message to many people. Now, there are 2 ways to do this. You can see these guys do it. It's quite cool, right? Now, there are 2 ways to do this. One, when you send a message, clone it to, like, send a message to 10 people, clone it to become 10 messages to 10 users. Okay? Now the problem with this one is that when people reply, it doesn't work. As in, then I cannot see, right? This is like sending email. When you put them in BCC, right? And then you send one email to each person. The other guys have no idea. So this is the BCC way, right? One email to many people. What about the CC way in your email? If you put many address in to or CC field, how do we do this? Then you have to change your message. This can be a little tricky. When you send a message, you see belongs to recipient, right? This is when you're like, it belongs to a sender, but it has many recipients. And some people don't like this idea, so they have. That's one way. Actually, the third way is you call it a conversation. A conversation has many messages that's in the same room. That's different. So let's do this simple method. Has many recipients. Now, for this has many to work, what is the class name of this recipient? Huh? User. So do you put message ID in user? No. Right? So technically this is a little interesting. It's a little difficult. So let's say I have a class called message reading. Okay, so let's say message delivery. Okay? Alright. Let's see. Message delivery, and this message delivery belongs to a message and belongs to recipient. Right? It means up here I have many what? Has many Huh? Message deliveries. It means has many recipient can only be done through message deliveries. This is why it's difficult, right? You cannot just do has many recipient. So what is has many through? It's not common, but in Rails you have something called has and belongs to. Has anyone seen it? It's not as, so it's called Rails has and belongs to. This guy, has and belongs to is I don't know how to explain it. Maybe I can, use one of these tables. This guy, as you can see, right? This guy belongs to this guy. So this guy has many, a patient has many physicians through this, right? But this one also has many, physician also has many patients through appointments, right? So it's not really has many, it's also belong to. So patient belongs to physician. It's just through this guy. Remember, belongs to. So that's why we convert from message belongs to recipient. It's actually, it belongs to, but now it has many and belongs to recipient. So it becomes has many through. It's very different from has many. Because the other relationship is also correct. A recipient also has many messages. You see, a recipient can have many messages through this message deliveries. Okay, so when you see has many through, it's like has many and belong to through someone. Alright, so if you do this, then this is how you implement it. Then sometimes you have to deal with this class, right? When you create, now it's easy, right? When you do a form, you build this, you create this object. Okay? Right? When you pass in a bunch of recipients, then you can create a bunch of message deliveries. The naming can be quite difficult. Okay? So I mean, this node, you can go home and check it out. So that's a good question. But it's harder, you know. Now, if you ask about blocking people, why no one asked me about blocking people? So the easiest way for blocking, then you can just add one more. You can actually add, let's say, you can Rails generate migration, add extra columns. It doesn't matter what you call this. To, there's this area here. To, you can call friendship, right? And then you can call here blocked. So you can either call this a blocked, it's Boolean. If you do it Boolean, make sure you set the default value to true or false. You don't want it to be nil. And then you have like true or false or nil. It's confusing. If you do Boolean, go and edit your migration file and change it to false. However, some people also like block at, similar to read at, right? Boolean, because it gives you the same thing and you also know when this person blocked the other person. So that's quite nice. Okay? Yeah.
If you do this, you cannot do the one-word blocking, right? Like it's A blocks a B, and A know that you block B, but you cannot do the other way around. Because now B will know that it's being blocked.
Right. So this is depending on you.
Is here, right? The user B doesn't know that he has to be blocked by user A.
Yeah. No, that's correct. So you can use this. So let's say if you use block only for one-way relationship between user and friend, don't use it for the other direction.
No, if we use this one, how can we implement it?
So let's say A dot friends, right, is B and C. Okay. Now if A dot get friendship with B, maybe you have this method. Okay, and then you say, you set this friendship. Do you know how to implement this method? Yeah. And then this friendship dot block at equals now, and then you save this. Then what happens?
Now, when you log in,
this is, you have to think like, who is blocking this? So maybe this is blocked by
A, right?
Is it by A or by B?
You see, A blocking B, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You see, A blocking B.
So this one is a little, all right, let's slow down a little bit. If you do A block B through this friendship,
Yeah.
and then
Now, when you log in as B, how can you know that? How can you not know that it has been blocked by A? Because you only have one row. That way, right?
that's okay. So, okay. Now, let's say if we do it this way. Okay, so are you saying B will not know, right?
Now B will know.
How do you know? I mean, it's up to you. So, A.friend, it gives you the power to say A dot, right, blocked B, you can implement this method. Now B doesn't know, it means it's only on the view, okay? You just implement B on the view. So it's you can still check in your code, right? You can actually check this. Yeah? This person B. Okay. What does it mean when I block you? It means if you...
I don't know, you block me, right? The comment is that I don't know, not you block me.
When you, so if A block B, they will not see messages from B.
Yeah.
So when
I
you...
still send message to you, right? I still see you as a friend. I still send message to you. Just you don't see the message.
Right, so you don't show them because you can check. Did I block, did block B, because I have this method, right?
Yeah.
So when you show my A dot received messages, don't show messages from B.
No, that's easy. But if you log in, right? So when you query on the friend, right, you will remove the where friend is not blocked, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is only when we spend more time doing it. It will make, it's up to you how to do it. In this case, I haven't done it, carefully, right?
Because for now, I understand, I think that when we do it this way, but when you say B, we will also see that B and A are blocked now.
That's okay. Of course we have to see it, but when you code B, you don't have to tell B that. The code knows, but B doesn't have to know.
There's no way that we can query from the database without seeing the block.
Why not?
We implement the query user now.
Okay, where? Which one?
Now let's try the function to query friendship.
Query friendships for A.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
This is easy. A. You can still do that, and A dot friend still the same.
But you should remove the block, right? You don't want to see the one.
No.
Right?
You don't have to. A block B means I don't want to see. So okay, so depends on what you need here, right? So if you want, you can do this. A dot friends dot unblock non-block friends. You can do that.
So one question now, if I send here message, will be received it or not? See it or not?
Up to you. Let's say in this user class. Okay, what do you want to get? All the received messages here. Now, when things get complicated like this, then you don't need to use this one. You can just define it. Maybe the logic is more complicated.
Yeah, sure.
So what is this? So do you want to see the block message or not?
I will not see the message from B, right? Because it blocked me already. But if we send me a message, we should still be able to see it, right? It's just one word block.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just one word.
Yeah.
So
because the blocking is on the same row, only one row database.
you decide when to use it. So here, receive messages up here, it includes everyone, right? So now you want a method called receive messages except without block, right?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So something like filtered received messages. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Or non-blocked, right? I don't know. Non-blocked. Okay. So then you say you reject the guys that you don't get the messages from the guys that is blocked.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do that. How do we query?
Because A and B are logging to and use the same function, right? A and B are both using this function. Non-block receive message. We don't know who we're using. Logging to the user.
We're using one direction, okay? So, okay. If I implement received messages, how do you implement received messages from everyone?
Message dot old.
Yeah?
That message dot old, right?
No. Where
ID is myself.
recipient is myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this one you want to do received messages, okay? Yeah? You can actually reject them.
Yeah.
So I will do the Ruby way and then we can do the database way. So we reject the guys, right? So if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, reject all the number that are odd, okay? This will return you 2 and 4.
Yeah.
By now you know this syntax, right? So, not question mark. Now here I reject, I will make it 2 lines so it's easier. Message dot sender, right? Okay? So you can say block contacts or block friends, include this guy. So then you only get the reject all the blocked messages. Now this is the long way, we can make it shorter. I'm showing this how we think first.
But this one means that A block B.
Yeah.
But this guy will make that B will also not see the message A sent to B.
You know block friends, let's look at this first. Block friends is very simple. Friends where block at is not nil, right?
Yeah. Alright.
That's it. Okay?
Yeah, for both A and B, this one will return the same message.
No, it's not. Because when you do dot friends, if A friends B and it's blocked, okay? There's only one row in the friendship table.
Yes.
But when B, you ask B, where are your friends, it's still empty.
What? Equally from the
No,
same
so
table.
let's say A, right now A dot friends is empty, okay? Empty, okay? B dot friends is empty,
Yeah.
okay? Now let's say you add A dot friends. If you add A dot friends, you add B to it.
Okay.
Then now A dot friends is what?
B, right?
B.
Yeah.
What is B dot friends?
It's A, right?
No! That's the whole time you're just thinking it's 2 ways. It's 1 way. In order to have this, you need another friendship row. Right now we only have one friendship, which is user ID is A.id and then friend ID is B.id. So if you block, this is just something that
Okay.
A blocks B.
Yeah, because it's different, not this one.
Okay, so having 2 way is powerful. If you do it, having it, this is 1 way, the other way, it makes it easier. All right?
Yeah. The thing
All
is
right.
that I use only one row for one way friendship.
No, yeah, that's too confusing.
You have to do another table.
Yeah, it's too confusing, right? Because when we do relationship, maybe this is better. Okay. Otherwise, you have to do the if you want it to treat 2 ways, it's like this, and your query become very complicated every time.
That's what I did.
Woo! Looks like we just covered the entire homework. All right, let's take a quick break.